All right, so today we're going to talk about a situation where we had a client come to us and wanted us to build a home on some land they had just closed on. And this land had a home on it that had burned down. And there was an existing driveway that went up to the property. Actually, it was a concrete driveway, it was a nice driveway. And they found out after talking to us that this driveway was going to have to get widened all the way up, and this was property where they had not anticipated this cost into their budget of what they were going to build, and so it's adding a significant amount of cost to the project, and also some concerns as far as environmental concerns that is going to create a problem for them building. So I wanted to talk to you about what to avoid when you're looking at land, how it pertains to driveways. So first thing is, this is related to the fire department. So the fire department wants a 16-foot wide driveway going to your home. They also want a turnaround, like a hammerhead turnaround, where they can turn around once they get to the home. So the first thing is, if you're out looking at land, a lot of times it'll be a driveway cut. It might just be dirt. It could be actually like this scenario where there was actual concrete driveway poured. It could be asphalt, and it goes up to the home. Now, if that area, say it's just dirt right now, but there's rock all on the side of the hill, there's steep area on one side, you can't get a wide driveway without doing maybe some blasting or some heavy grading into the side of the hill, and then you're gonna have to plant the banks going up there, and then you're gonna have to pave or concrete that all the way up to the house. That can add significant cost to your project. So you've got to make sure that you can get a road up to your home at least 16 feet wide, and that's for a single family dwelling. So if you get into where it's servicing more than one home at the top, then you're going to need even wider depending on the amount of homes that driveway will service. So make sure, first thing is make sure you got at least 16 feet that is clear all the way up from wherever you're accessing of a public road going onto your property, even if you're crossing an easement and going up. We used to be able to get some waivers on homes that had existing driveways, but since the county of San Diego, or the fire department that has jurisdiction over these areas, is not waiving these, we're seeing most of the time now. So make sure that the driveway is wide enough going up to the house. Now, the other reason that this is really, really important is you will find there's a code that's a state requirement that is, it's a priority planned development that it deals with the runoff whenever you do something that's impervious. So something that water cannot go through, such as concrete, asphalt, that would be on your driveway. And if it's not made out of impervious or pervious materials, which they do make concrete that's pervious and asphalt that's pervious and pavers that are pervious, and you can mitigate this with using pervious materials they're more money to do that. But if you have an existing driveway that is not 16 feet wide, you're going to have to widen that. So that's going to have to be done out of pervious material, because if you exceed, sometimes the driveway can't exceed 5,000 square feet. If you exceed 5,000 square feet of impervious driveway area that you add, that throws you into what's called that PDP, which is going to be $10,000 roughly, just to get the actual engineer to engineer that and then submit it to the county to process through to get an approval. And then you got to put in bioretention basins that will actually catch the water that's hitting these impervious areas and then flow over into these bioretention basins that essentially filter that water that hit the impervious areas, which would be your driveway or the top of your house, and then it runs into these bioretention basins for filtering. So that is that can cost $20,000-$40,000 plus to add those bioretention basins, depending on the amount of area that those bioretention basins are actually absorbing. So how long the driveway is and how large your home will determine the size of those bioretention basins. So and if you have environmentally sensitive land that this impervious area is running off onto, versus just what the county would consider not environmental sensitive land, it can reduce that even below that 5,000 mark, square foot mark that you have. So it makes it even harder for you to get this through, and it costs more to do it. So just make sure that you're able to, your driveway is wide enough and that it's not going to exceed the new area that you either have to widen the driveway, or the total driveway 16 feet wide going all the way to the house is going to be less than 5,000 square feet of impervious area that you're adding, and that the home as a whole doesn't add 10,000 square feet of impervious area. So if you have the house is 5,000 square feet, including your porches and overhangs, and the living area and the garages is not 5,000 plus the 5,000 of the driveway, you see 10,000, that will kick you into that PDP as well. And then you'll have that additional 10,000 engineering roughly, and then you'll have the $20,000 plus, it's normally more than that, that you'll have to pay to get those bioretention basins put in on top of that. So something to definitely look at on the driveway side. Another thing on the driveways is that you want to, like for instance in Ramona, California, the fire department is requiring the surface of that driveway, regardless of the grade. So if it's 0% grade, totally flat, they are requiring you to have asphalt on that. So you can no longer just have DG that you can drive on and get to your home. So you got to factor in the cost of putting down that driveway in the asphalt, and depending on the grade, as the grade goes up, they're going to require concrete, and it gets to be more money when you go up into the different surfaces that way. So something to consider there. That's not everywhere in San Diego County, but it is, like Ramona Fire requires that. San Diego County actually does a plan checks for Ramona Fire, but the Ramona Fire has the jurisdiction over that area, so they're and the requirements that they give you got to meet them. So that's a huge thing. And then make sure you have the turnaround, the space for the turnaround at the top for the fire department, so they can do their turnaround with their truck when they get to the top, and that will allow you to make sure you got to calculate that into your impervious area as well when you're looking at the requirements. So, all right, so I hope that helps you. If you want more information on buying land, you can visit our website at tfgonline.com. We have a ton of information, have a how to buy land guide that'll give you a ton of information on how to actually go through the due diligence process and make sure you cover everything you need when you're buying land. So, all right, thanks for your time and have a great rest of your day.